Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Microsoft Access course. Today I'll be covering a lot of great material. So this course is intended for the person that's a beginner to intermediate or even the advanced user. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment box or in the chat window. So I'm going to share my screen. So I came up with this scenario. It says that Victoria Sanders and Kathy Smith work in the Human Resources Department. They need to be able to track the personnel that they are with, that are in their organization. So we're going to use the Access database. We'll create a brand new database. I'm going to go to, we'll call this HR department. I'll hit create. We can close this. So the first thing I want to do is import the personnel information. So I'm going to go to the External Data tab. I'm going to choose Excel. Go to Browse. Select Employee. It says import the source data into a new table in the current database. That's what we want. So we're going to hit OK. The first row contains column headings. Yes, it does. So we're going to check the box. We hit Next. We don't need a primary key. And I'm going to call this table TBL underscore employee. Hit finish and close. And that should have imported the information from a spreadsheet, which it did. So we have employee name, city, and position. So what I want to do is I want to create some lookup tables. One lookup table is going to be for the city, and one's going to be for the position. So I'll create the city first. Copy this column. Paste that column in here. Go to the Data tab. Just want to ensure we don't have any duplicate cities. We don't. Okay. Let's go back to the database. I'm going to create a table called city. We don't need a primary key. I call it TBL city. Hit OK. Nope. So now I have my city table. I'll go back to the spreadsheet. Hit Control Shift down. Select all the rows. We go back to database. Paste the cities. So now we've got our city lookup table. So we need to go to design view of the employee table. And in the city field name, in the data type, we're going to select Lookup Wizard. We want to look up the field to get the values from another table. And we're going to choose the city table. Select all the fields. We can do ascending for the city. Next, finish. Yes, we want to save the table. So when we go back to the datasheet view and we create a new record, the cities are in the drop-down list. So we're going to do the same thing for position. Create a position lookup table. Copy the positions. Go back to the spreadsheet. Move any duplicates. Copy the data. Go back to database. Create a table for the position. Paste those positions. So we got a position table. We go back to the design view of our employee table. In the data type of position, select Lookup Wizard. Same thing. Select position. Ascending. Next. Next. Finish. Save our table. So we go to the datasheet view in the employee table. We put in a new employee, let's say Arnold Jones. Let's say he's from Greenville and he's a data engineer. So we've got our lookup tables. So let's go back to the requirements. So the requirements are, we need a table containing the personnel. So we've completed that. A login form for the HR department containing a username and password. We need a search form to track the personnel, and we need the ability to create reports and the ability to customize the form. So we're going to create our search form next. Let's go back to Access. So before we create our search form, we need to create a query based on our employee table. So we'll go to Create, Query Design. We'll drag the employee table. Select all the fields, put them down here in the grid. So right now, if we were to run this, it would look just like our table. Now we need to create a query that's going to look up our employees by city. So we could do this in a couple of ways. We could use what's called a parameter query, and we can put in brackets, enter the city, and if we run this, it's going to prompt us to enter the city. So if we put in Atlanta, see what cities are. So let's put in Charleston. Let's run that again. We put in Charleston, we get the employee that's in Charleston. Now the problem with this parameter query is the user can misspell the city and get no results. So if I misspell Charleston, I won't get any results. So what we will do is we're going to create a form, and this form is going to have a control, and the control is going to have our list of cities. So let's go to the Create tab, Form Design. We'll just change the background color. I'm going to choose a combo box. So I want the combo box to get the values from another table query. Yes. So I'm going to select the city table. City. Want the label to say select the city. Finish. Change the font color. Let's make it just bigger. Okay, now if we go to Form View, we get a list of our cities, and this remember, the city list comes from our city table. So what we need to do is we need to be able to run our query based on the selection of the city that the user picks. So I'm going to go to Design View. First of all, I'm going to rename this combo box. So right now it's called combo box 0. We're going to change the name to something more meaningful. We're going to call it city combo box. Right? Now I need a button. Before I create the button, I'm going to save. Actually, let me go back to the form. Let me save the form first. We'll call it form underscore city. So now I have a form called form underscore city and a control called city combo box. Now I'm ready to create the query. So I'm going to go to the query. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to refer to that control on the form. So I'm going to say forms. And in between forms and the name of the form is an exclamation mark. The name of the form, the name of the control on the form, which is city combo box. You zoom in so you can see. So forms, the name of the form, and the name of the control. Let's save the query. We're going to call it QRY underscore city. Close that. Now all we need is a button. So go to form design, button. Use the wizard if we want. Let's go to miscellaneous, run query. Next, we want the text version of the button. Next, finish. So now when we select our city, let's say Miami, and run the query, it pulls up the employee that's in Miami. I can choose another city like Somerville. It gives us our Somerville employee. So this query is dynamic. We have just one query. We don't have a query for each and every city. We just have one. So we can do the same thing for the position. We're going to create a form called for the position. We're going to have a position form, and then we're going to have a position drop down, and we'll be able to run queries for position. So let's go ahead and set that up. So I'm going to create query design. Add table, position table. No, actually I messed up. It's the employee table. We're going to call this query QRY position. we need to create our form for the position. So create form design. We need a combo box. We can use the wizard, select position. We want ascending. Next, the label is going to be select the position. Change the font size. So we have our positions. We save the form. Call it FRM position. This combo box, I'm going to call this position combo box. Now I have enough to create the query. Say forms. Save this query. Now we need our button. Run query, position query. And let's test it. Select the position, data analyst. It pulls up all the data analysts. I select data engineer, pulls up the data engineers. All right. Save that. So let's go back to our requirements. So we just created a search form to track personnel. Now we're going to create our login form for the HR department containing a username and password. So we need to create two tables. First table is going to be username or the user table containing the username and password. Just double click that. Here's our personnel. It's Victoria Sanders and Kathy Smith are in the HR department. Victoria Sanders, Kathy Smith. So we have our user table created. Now we need let's just create well we'll just create a username table for now, which we already have. Now we need to create a form design. Let's create our combo box. It's going to be the username table. Select the username, ascending. Next, change the label to select your name. Finish. Make this white. So we have a drop down with our HR employees. So now they need to be able to get to the city form and the position form. So we create a button. This time I'm not going to use the wizard. I'll turn that off. Continue. We need a text box. Enter password. If I select the password text box, I'm going to rename it. Call it password text box. In the data tab, it says input mask. I'm going to type in password. And what that's going to do is we go to form view. It's going to hide our password. Expand this so we can see the label. Looks good. So we have drop down, password. The button doesn't work. We need our functionality for our button. Before I do that, I'm going to rename this combo box. I'll call it username combo box. Let's move this up a little. So right here in the left-hand corner of the form, if you click it, this will take you to the properties of the form. So what I want to do is when the person opens the form, I want to clear the box, the comma box and the text box. So I'm going to go to the event tab and choose on open. That's going to take us to our VBA editor. So all I'm going to do is say me.username comma box equals null and me.password text box equals null. So all it's going to do is just clear out the text box in the combo box when the person opens up the form. We'll create a comment that explains what this does. Zoom in so you can see it. This clears out the comma box and the text box when the form opens. Make sure this is username comma box. All right. So you see how it cleared it when we open the form. So now I need to give those two individuals a password. So I'm going to select the button. I'm going to call it continue BTN. Go to the event tab, choose the on-click event, code builder. I'm going to use an if statement that says if me dot username combo box dot value that equals over their names Victoria Sanders and me dot password text box dot value equals cars then it's going to do something. Just copy this line. So this will be our else if. Kathy Smith. So else if Kathy Smith is chosen and password text box is trucks, then do something. And if. So all we need to do is be able to send the person, if they select their name and their password, to send them to those forms. So the forms are called form_city, form_position. Let's go back to our button. Actually, I'm going to create another form. I'll create a form called main. Do command, open, form, RM, main. It's going to open up a form called main, which we're about to create. And the main form is going to contain the buttons that will get them to the city and the petition form. So we'll call this form login. We create the main form. The main form. It's a login form. Just want to identify so city form. In our position form, back to position. All right, in our main form, let's rename it. FRM main. And this form is going to contain our buttons that will get us to the city and the login form. So again, create two buttons. For the city form, Go to position form. Click our city form, code builder, do command, open form for M city. Okay. Position. Do command. All right. Let's test it. Just open up the main form. So you press this button, it should take us to the city form, and it does. Press this, it'll take us to the position form. Now we need a way to navigate between the forms. So if I go to city, I can create a form that will take me to the position form. So then go to position, create a button, it'll take us to the city form. Form, city. Get to our city form. You get to see what happened here. This should be FRM form, not the table. Yep, position, city, position. And we can create a form or a button that could take us back to the main form if we want as well. form. Let's check our requirements. So we need to test our login form. So I'm gonna choose Kathy Smith. I'm gonna put in her password. Didn't work. Make sure I put in the right password. Huh. Let me try her. Kathy Smith. Oh, that's right. I selected the wrong person. Victoria Sanders. Takes us to Maine. So Kathy Smith's password was trucks. You can get to the main screen. So you accomplish that. I'm gonna add a little bit more functionality to that login form. So we'll go back. So I'm going to so if they enter the wrong password, we're going to say me.password text box dot at color equals EB red. So if they put in the wrong password, it'll show up in red and they won't be able to continue. I can also add a message box. Says message box, you have entered the wrong password. On here, when they retype it, I want it to clear not clear, but make the background white when they retype the password. So that's going to be on the on change event. On change event, I'm going to say VB white for the password. Show you how that works. So if I'm Kathy Smith, I put in the wrong password. I get a message box saying I've entered the wrong password, and the box is red. But if I type in again, white. Let's check our requirements. Now we need the ability to create reports. Okay. So I'm going to go to the city form. Actually, let me go to the Create tab. I'm going to use the Report Wizard. It's going to be based off of the city query. Select all the fields. We can do ascending for employee if we want. Let's try landscape. Employees by city. Finish. So we don't have anything because we did not supply our city yet. So I'm going to copy the name of that report. Go to create. Oh, so it's in the form design. Create a button. Run report. Another do command. Open report. Name of the report. And we're going to select preview. Copy that because we're going to use that for our position report. So we select the city, say Barstow, run the report, and we get our city, our employee that works in Barstow. Now we can put the city that's selected in our header of the report by simply going back here. We can go to our city query, actually, be easier. Let's go to city. Use the same query that or criteria that we had in our query for the city. And we'll add it to our header of the city report. Let's get rid of this. Go to report design, text box. If we select our text box, we go to data, control source, we say equals, forms, city form, city combo box. So that city that's selected in our form should appear here at the top of the report. Let's make this bigger. Select Leesburg. Select Charleston. Get our employee in Charleston. We could do the same thing for the position. Create a report based on position. Let's do landscape. Do the same thing. Let's go to position query. Copy the criteria. Get rid of this label. Use a text box or, text box. The control source. Forms, form position, position combo box. Let's make it bigger. Center it. I'm gonna rename this. Call this employees by position. Another button. And report. Event tab. Code builder. Do command. Open report. Name of the report and preview. So now select business analyst. You get our business analysts in our report. Data analyst, data analyst. So you have the ability to create reports. That's checked. Last thing we need is the ability to customize the form. So what I'm going to do to customize the form is I'm going to allow the people in the HR department to change the background of the form. So to do that, let's go to the main form. I need to create a table or field color. Save the table. Let's call it TBL_color. Go to data sheet view. So we're just going to have some colors in here. So red, blue, green, black, cyan, magenta. Save that. Let's create where's form design? Create a you have a combo box. Select the color. Let's put it underneath. In our combo box, I'm going to go to the data tab, go to row source, select the color table. We have a list of colors. And we have our color combo box selected. Let's go to event tab and go to on change. Actually, before we do that, let me rename this color combo box. Go to event tab and go to on change. Go to code builder. On here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a select or a case statement. So select select case. What we're doing here is setting the background color of our form. So if the user selects red in the color combo box, the background color of the form will be red. All right, let's test it. It's red. Oops. You just need to add the other cases for the other colors. We have green, cyan, and magenta. All right, save it. Choose a color, changes the background color. Forgot to add black. Blue, magenta, cyan, black, green. So we completed the last requirement. So as you can see, what we did was we created a table containing our personnel from our Excel spreadsheet. Then we were able to create queries off of the data. And then we created a report based off of the query. And then we were able to customize the form. So if you enjoyed the content of the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.